We're going to call the meeting to order. Administration and Public Works Committee. First item on our agenda is approval of the minutes of November 27. I'll move approval. May I have a second? Any objections, corrections, changes, etc.? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, items for consideration. Alderman Fleming, would you like to begin? How about if you do the payroll and the bills list and the credit card activity and the Amazon? Just take it all.
Okay. So staff recommends the approval of payroll dated November 13, 2017 through November 27, 2017 for the amount of $2,904,381.91. The bills list dated December 6, 2017 for $4,313,546.97. And there is a general fund amount in the bills list, $270,241.80, giving the total amount for bills and payroll at $7,217,928.88. That is for approval. And the Amazon credit card list.
Wait, hold.
Hold
All
on.
right, there's a second to those three
Second.
items? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Amazon?
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I didn't do the credit card activity.
Oh,
Let me
okay.
go back for that one. Excuse me. Credit card activity period ending October 31st, 2017 in the amount of $156,529.88. That's for approval.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Amazon?
Staff recommends approval of City of Evanston Amazon credit card activity for the period ending October 31st, 2017. The amount is $8,961.68. That is for approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any abstaining?
Me.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion is recommended to the council. Alderman Suffredin.
Sure. Item A 3.1 is a Great Merchant Grant Program for the Black Business Consortium funding request in the amount of $1,800 for action.
Second.
Any comments? Alderman Braithwaite.
Thank you, Alderman Rainey. Just for Paul or whomever, last year, the business, it's up to you. I just want to make sure we get it on the record. So last year, when I attended the event, which I'm glad to see that we're providing the funding for it, the businesses that could sell merchandises weren't allowed to. So I just want to make sure that this year, moving forward, if we continue to fund it, that the businesses are able to, those that can sell their items.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. No other comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of recommending this item to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Alderman Simmons.
Staff recommends the City Council review and place the 2017 post-bond issuance report on file. This is for action, acceptance, and to be placed on file.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Next item, I'll read this one.
Okay.
Next, this is a motion to execute a purchase order for the sole source upgrade and repair of Cargill AccuBrine system from Cargill. This is very appropriate. De-icing technology for a total purchase amount of $36,500. This is a sole manufacturer for our Cargill AccuBrine system and is it's proprietary software. It helps with the proper mixture so that what runs off into our sewers and other water systems is safe and not contaminated.
Second.
Any comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of recommending to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alderman Braithwaite.
Sure, Madam Chair, I'd like to move item 3.4, just change order number 4, to contract with Construction LLC for the Dempster Street office renovations. Staff is recommending the City Council approve the change order for the Dempster Street Beach in the dollar amount of $12,427 and the increase from $263,892 to $796,319.
Second.
276.
What's that?
Did you say 296? It's
276,
Okay.
319.
All right, any discussion? Yes, Alderman Sufferton.
Sure. I was hoping, Laura, could you just kind of explain how we got to discover the need for this additional expense and where we are on this project and generally what's going on over there?
Sure. Honored members of the committee, my name is Laura Biggs. I'm the city engineer. So this project is a renovation in an existing building, and anytime you start renovating an existing building, there's the potential to run into issues. In this particular case, the bulk of the cost for this change order has to do with structural repairs that, as we started doing the work, became more obvious. The ceiling started to deflect, so we requested a structural engineer to come out and do an evaluation. It turned out the beams were not appropriate for the reinforcing needed.
Okay, so that's what this one is?
That's the bulk of this
Okay.
expense.
Thank you.
How old is this building? When did,
What? I'm sorry? Oh, so the building was constructed in 1919. So
did we do
it's older.
any recent renovation on this, like in the past 10 years?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you. All right, all those in favor of recommending this purchase to the council change order, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Alderman Simmons.
Where are we? 3.5. Staff recommends the city council authorize city manager to execute a one-year contract extension for the management and operations of 3 city-owned self-park facilities to SP Plus Municipal Services in the amount of $1,513,707. Funding for the contract will be provided by the following parking funds accounts: Church Street Garage, Sherman Avenue Garage, and Maple Avenue Garage. The budgeted amount for 2018 is $1,672,588, as the contract allows reconciliation for the vendor overages of actual operation expenses for the estimated operating budget. This is for action.
Second.
Alderman Fleming.
I have a question. I know that we're on our first one-year contract extension of 2-year option. At what point, I don't know what staff this is, sorry. At what point are we going to, or will we even go out and look for a different vendor? Or do we anticipate thank you, Jill.
Members of the committee, Jill Veland, Parking Division Manager. We typically do RFP every 5 years. We just finished our first 2-year contract, for which we did the RFP, which was 1565. We're on our first extension. We'll have 2 more extensions, and then we would go out for RFP again. Of course, at any time, if we determine that we want to look at other options, we could do an RFP sooner. That's why we do 1-year extensions after the first 2 years, so that we can continue to monitor the contract.
Okay. So I'm not sure if there's an error in our memo, or this one's just a little different. I think this one only has 2 1-year extensions, and so this would be a...
Yeah, so we're using our first extension, and then we are saying that there's 2 more left.
Oh, got
so
it.
that's
Okay.
the action.
All right, thank
Yeah.
you.
Can you tell us how things are going at Sherman Plaza Garage with the, letting people in and out? We had all that chaos going on. We haven't heard anything lately. I'm afraid to ask, but
I haven't heard anything lately, but I do have members from SB Plus here, and we could have Dan Ratchey, who's our manager, come up. Because we were just talking about that, so you can introduce yourself.
Dan Rachi, SP Plus. The nested area where we did have some issues has been resolved. We haven't had any complaints. Everything's working fine. The new system that we installed, the tag masters have solved all the issues that we had before.
so the resolution was the installation of,
Of the tag masters, the
I can
The license plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was it.
The license plate recognition was the new software for that nested area. We did add, we did have the residents be able to do the transponders. So they either have a proximity card, a transponder, or their license plate can be read. They have 3 options now to get in the garage, and as
One of
Dan
them
indicated,
works, right?
it's working. It's working. We're not receiving any other complaints. And they've been doing, SP Plus has been doing a great job.
And one of the big issues was how was the resolution going to be paid for? And how did that end up? Do you know?
The
The resolution, we argued over how that was, here comes Ms. Storley. How did that end up?
Chair Rainey, members of the committee, Erica Storley, Deputy City Manager. The City Council did approve the purchase of the Tagmaster system that was referenced about for $135,000 in January of this year. That system was installed, is now working very well. We're happy to report. There was some issues that we went back to that vendor for, APT. They have now resolved everything to our satisfaction, so there is no other payment that's going to be required moving forward. The residents of Sherman Plaza did pay for their proximity cards, so there was some expense paid for by the people who live in the building. But we still have an outstanding invoice from APT that we've been waiting on before we finalize that whole project that installed all of the software at all 3 garages. And that invoice, I think, is for $50,000, and that will be paid pretty soon, which will complete that contract with the deduction of an LEP penalty applied. And then all outstanding invoices for that project will be satisfied.
Okay.
And it'll come from the parking fund, and we also think we'll have better utilization of the deck overall, as far as now that we're managing the nested area more efficiently, that there's more spaces available in the non-nested area. So
Correct.
we hope that that will improve revenues to pay for that software.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. The next item is purchase of fuel for 2018 from Gas Depot Oil Company. It's in the amount of $450,000, and it's the current Northwest Municipal Conference bid winner through July 5, 2018, for all grades and types of fuel that are utilized by city vehicles. This is for action.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, Alderman Braithwaite.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move item 3.7, to contract with E-Town Tennis, Inc. for the tennis program at Chandler Newberger Community Center.
Okay. Alderman Braithwaite and members of the committee, this is kind of unusual, I know, but I received a couple of complaints today, never having received any complaints before, but these are rather concerning, and they have nothing to do with the cost of this program or the return on investment, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm going to ask that we hold this, and I've been assured that it doesn't matter if we hold it for 2 weeks. And I'd like to have a meeting with the people who are complaining to see if there's a way we can resolve their
Are these
concerns.
participants?
Use my
Pardon me?
gas?
Wow, she just seconded.
Oh, the tennis.
All right, so we'll just hold it for 2 weeks, and I'll, since it's so secondhand right now, I don't even want to get into it, so, okay? All right, moving right along. Would you like to do the next one?
It's fine.
Okay.
I'd like to move item A4, Resolution 112-R-17, accepting a grant award for a long-term care ombudsman program.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Alderman Fleming.
A5 is Resolution 92-R-17 for a 12-month lease renewal agreement for studio space at Noise Cultural Arts Center for 25 artists. This is for action.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alderman Sufferman.
I move item A6, which is an 8-month lease agreement for the Noise Street Theater at Noise Cultural Arts Center with Mudlark Theater.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alderman Simmons.
Staff recommends City Council approval of Resolution 111R17, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement for a 12-month lease term with David Gista, a non-Evanston resident, to lease vacant Studio 109 at the Noise Cultural Arts Center. This is for action.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? This includes a 20% surcharge because he is a non-Evanston resident, so a little extra there. All right, all those in favor say, do we vote on that? No. All those in favor of recommending to council say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next. This is approval of a settlement and release of claims in Yaknis versus the City of Evanston et al. This is a case where our insurance company is going to pay $3,500,000, and the City of Evanston is going to pay $1,250,000 to settle this claim, and not to exceed. And the funding will be from the insurance fund. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Alderman Sufferton.
Yeah, I was just hoping Attorney Ford could just give a cursory overview of the facts of the case.
Madam Chair and Committee, Henry Ford, Assistant City Attorney. This matter involves a auto accident case that took place in October of 2016 involving one of the city garbage trucks. It involved two other vehicles. The plaintiff involved in one of the vehicles sued the city in relation to severe injuries that she suffered. We received a settlement demand over the summer dealing with the matter. Our excess carrier was involved, noting the age of the plaintiff involved and the severity of her injuries. We had to, pursuant to our duties, notify our excess carrier. Excess carrier got involved, retained its own counsel, suggested mediation. Pursuant to our contract, our insurance policy with our provider, we are, to the extent that we get into excess coverage, we pay our underlying SIR, which is a $1.25 million. I would note with this situation that the amount is not to exceed $1.25 million because we are claiming eroding costs, so costs for any sort of experts and additional legal fees paid for the attorneys for the city employee involved. So I can answer any other questions involving the matter, but the matter was mediated in November of 2017, voluntary mediated. A settlement was reached, and that's the city's portion. And all claims against the city and the employee involved are dismissed with prejudice. There was an order entered late last month dismissing the claims with prejudice, and that was part of the settlement agreement. So this is just to in open session, approve the payment, the city's portion of the payment, while the excess carrier will cover the remaining bulk of the portion. Thanks.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just to follow up on this, we've been insured in this manner for approximately 9 years, but prior to this, we didn't have any coverage. So probably closer to 10 years, and we were concerned if we ever had a large claim, what would happen. And earlier on the 27th, you received renewals for all of our insurance, and we did have this renewed. So we were able to get a renewal. The renewal was not that much of an increase, so staff is very happy with that. It's with a different carrier, but at the same time, it's really important to know that we still have the same insurance coverage level that we had before, even after this size of a claim.
And I can add a bit of historical or corporate memory about going back as to why we had no insurance coverage. There was a time when we did have it, prior to when we didn't have it. At one point, our insurance premium, we were notified, would be $1 million for $1 million worth of coverage. And it was at that point where we said, no, I think we'll go uninsured. And that is a fact. That $1 million of premium for $1 million of coverage. So we had some gigantic claims back in the day. So we have proven ourselves since then. Any other questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of recommending this settlement to the council, say aye.
Aye.
I'll take the next one also. This is Resolution 98R17. This is an abatement of general obligation bonds. Pardon me?
On the budget amendment, A9.
Okay. Okay. Peter, you want to do that one?
Sure.
And I'll come back to this one.
All right. Madam Chair, I'd like to move item A9, Resolution 90-R-17, 2017 Budget Amendment. Staff is recommending the City Council adopt 90R-17, amending the 2017 budget by $14,965,532 to the new total of $323,732,986 as detailed below. The $14.2 million amendment is associated with the refinancing of debt involved, no new operating capital expenses, and $580 involved in the final payment for the Chicago Main development, which originally was planned to finish in 2016.
Okay.
Second.
Keep in mind, everybody, this is 2017. So. All right. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. All those in favor of recommending this amendment to the council, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. I'll take this next one. It's a resolution to abate general obligation bonds. So it's Resolution 78R17, and there are 13 of them through 110R17. And I'm going to read, and there are a series, and I'm going to read the series. It's General Obligation Bond Series 2008B, 2008C, 2010B, 2011A, 2012A, 2013A, 2013B, 2014A, 15A, 2015B, 2016A, 17A, and 2017C. They are for action this evening. I move approval.
Second.
Okay. Would you like to discuss each one of them? Any comments? Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of recommending these abatements to the council?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? All righty. Moving right along. Alderman Fleming.
A11 is ordinance 143-0-17, amending City Code 3-2-16-2, increasing the gasoline tax. The staff recommend the City Council adopt ordinance 143-0-17, amending City Code, increasing the city's gasoline tax from .04 cents per gallon to .05 cents per gallon, effective date February 1st. This is for action. I'm sorry, for introduction. I'm sorry.
There's a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The sound we're all hearing is
Checking on the feedback right
the
now.
feedback.
And is the
Okay.
picture on?
It appears
I have not heard back. That picture is not whether or not we're live or not.
we're
The city
having an issue
managers.
with transmission of the television. So. All right. Ordinance 154-017, Alderman Sufferton.
I move ordinance 154017, amending the city code and increasing the athletic contests and exhibitions attendance tax from 8% to 9% effective February 1st for introduction.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm wondering, is there any reason why we can't suspend the rules on these?
Sorry, Madam Chair, you may suspend the rules on A11 and A12. We just, given that we had the budget on for adoption as well tonight, staff did not want to suggest that. That is up to the council. After you'll start with special orders of business, and then after that,
Will it be helpful to do that so that we can
Start collecting it.
if we suspend the rules, then we could also change the date to January 1 a January 1 effective date. And for, especially for the gasoline tax, and for the gasoline tax is one that we have a limited number of stations to approach, so we can reach out to them. The athletic tax, that's also one where we have one, one person to approach. So we can accomplish both of them by January 1.
Okay. Okay, so we can do
Make a
that. I think we need to do that here. Alderman Fleming, would you like to?
Read A11 again.
Yeah.
All right, A11 is ordinance 143-0-17, amending city code, which would increase city gasoline tax from .04 per gallon to .05 per gallon. This is for introduction and action. You want to make that effective January 1st? Are we? Yes, effective January 1st. This is for introduction and action. We're suspending the rules.
Second.
Okay. Excuse me. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing that. All right, Alderman Sufferton, sorry.
All right, so we're doing the old athletic contests and exhibitions attendance tax. So this would increase it from 8% to 9%, effective January 1.
Second.
And how about introduction and action?
For introduction and action, please.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alderman Simmons.
Staff recommends City Council adopt ordinance 160-0-17, amending Section 324 Hotel, Motel, and Vacation Rental Tax, Ordinance 121-017, amending the hotel, motel tax to include vacation rental units, was adopted on November 27, 2017. Since adoption of Ordinance 121-017, staff has had conversations with Airbnb and request some technical amendments to ease the tax collection process. This is for introduction and action.
I'll second.
All those in favor of recommending to the council say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye. I oppose.
Oh, okay. All right, so you're opposing this, right?
Yes.
I had some question.
Yes.
Any feedback on this request of technical amendments, and can staff give me any update on what the conversation was?
Let's hear from them.
Ms. Storley will start off, and also Mr. Thorpe, I know, is in the Aldermanic Library. I'll ask him to.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. There was a follow-up conversation with our Airbnb memo related to the specific terms of the remitter, of who the operator was, and there needed to be a distinction between operator and some of the Airbnb companies lease out the management of that. It's really hard to hear. And so we need to have a distinction between operator and the owner. And so is who's actually responsible for remitting the tax, because you can have some companies that are managing multiple properties collecting the tax for the owner, and then essentially a power of attorney is in play where the operator is remitting for the owner. So it was small, just kind of amendments to the definitions of owner, and then as well as a strikeout for kind of like a duplication of an exemption for over 30 days or more. If you're staying at a property, you don't have to pay tax on those specific people, and so the language is in there twice.
Does this affect in any way Airbnb outside of these, the vacation rentals?
No, this, I guess,
Like, do you mean bed and breakfast?
The bed and breakfast, no,
they're-
yeah.
They're not included.
Okay, all right.
yeah, this is strictly under the vacation rental portion of the ordinance. This all came into play as well is because that we're going to be entering into a voluntary collection agreement with Airbnb, and in order for their corporation counsel to enter an agreement, these sort of amendments needed to happen to satisfy both sides, the city as well as them.
Okay, so right now, what would this look like for the Airbnb operator?
It would look identical. It's just adding operator and owner on who has to actually remit the tax.
Okay.
So, for example, if I am, let's see, if I rent an apartment, like from E2, let's say, and I am going away on vacation, and I'm going to rent out my apartment, would that would kind of be an example? You wouldn't be collecting the tax from the owners of E2. You would be collecting the tax from me.
Correct.
Because I'm the Airbnb renter. Or,
Right.
Or landlord.
Right,
Landlord,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, if the operator would come into play is if you left and you allowed somebody else to collect the tax on your behalf and sort of operate that lease, and they're collecting it for you while you're away. Correct, yeah. It's, gotcha. Okay.
So just for a clarification, the whole concept behind this is that we want Airbnb to collect the tax on behalf of the people that are renting out the units. So you wouldn't be taking the tax and then giving it to the city. Airbnb is adding it to the bill when the people are renting from the person who has the ownership of the unit. So currently, Airbnb is collecting a 2% tax on all of the Airbnb rentals that are occurring in the state of Illinois, and that tax goes to the state of Illinois. We're adding on our percentage per this ordinance. So with this voluntary collection agreement that Airbnb is entering into with us will allow them to collect the tax on behalf of you or whoever else is renting the unit and then send it to us.
That just happened.
Like the gas tax.
Exactly.
Perfect, thank you.
All righty.
Madam Chair, I think we had a 4-1 vote just for the purposes
Yes,
of,
so we can't, it's.
I just
yeah.
wanted to make sure we
Yeah.
still had that for records.
Right, we've got that. Alderman Fleming is a no on that. Okay, so moving right along. Are you okay with that, Alderman Simmons?
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
Okay. So A14 is, who did that? Did you do that one? Huh?
Who's up, me? Oh, I did 13.
I've lost track.
It's your turn, Alderman Rainey.
Okay. Ordinance 150, that's right, 159, amending city code, section 101122, resident-only parking districts to include Brummel Street. This includes Brummel Street west of Ridge to Barton in the already existing parking district that includes Dobson and Barton. This is for introduction. I'm going to move suspension of the rules and action so that we can get the signs in before the ground
Second.
freezes. All in favor, I'm sorry, Alderman
I
Fleming?
just have a quick question. So how does this get enforced? Do the residents have to buy a sticker, or just when parking enforcement comes by, they
It's only
check?
from 6 at night to sometime in the morning. You just have to have paid the wheel tax.
Okay, so
Anybody
parking-
can park there who lives in the city of Evanston and has paid the wheel tax.
All right, so just if parking enforcement comes by and the car's there, they
Somebody
get the,
complains,
okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Yep. But all the other streets agreed to it, and they didn't want it then, and now they want it, so that's, okay. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, Alderman Braithwaite.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move for introduction and action ordinance 155-0-17, decreasing the number of Class C1 liquor licenses for Tommy Nevin's Pub located at 1450 Sherman Avenue.
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, all right, we'll keep going. All right, so we are at
A16.
A16, Alderman Fleming.
A16 ordinance 156-0-17, decreasing the number of Class D liquor licenses for Mumbai Indian Grill, which is located at 1728 Sherman Avenue, This is suspending the rules for action, for introduction and for action.
Second.
All those in favor of recommending the council, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, Alderman Sufferton.
This is an ordinance decreasing the number of Class P3 liquor licenses for Meta Wine located at 600 Main Street. And this is requested to suspend the rules for introduction and action today.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Alderman Simmons.
Staff recommends City Council adoption of ordinance 158-017, amending City Code subsection 346D to decrease the number of authorized Class D liquor license from 52 to 51. Asian Cajun 2 Corporation doing business as Asian Cajun 2 located at 1322 Chicago Avenue. Staff recommends suspension of the rules. This is for introduction and action.
Okay.
Second.
All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Mr. Lyon says that we did not vote
3.5.
on A 3.5.
Which one was that one? Oh, Lord.
Oh, that was the,
It was parking.
don't we move it again? Or just do we need to vote,
Okay.
call it the
All right,
question?
we got to discuss
Just
it.
need
All
to
right. I'll read it. A one-year contract extension is requested for the management and operation of 3 self-park facilities with SP Plus Municipal Services in the amount of $1,513,707 for 2018. This is a one-year extension, correct?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So, may I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? We already had some. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. The only other item we have on our agenda is the discussion of overtime?
Correct.
Yes. And would somebody like to talk to us about that, or would you just like to have us talk among ourselves?
Initially, while I get up the report here.
I sent something to all the members of the council. I pulled out all the police overtime having to do with athletics. Some show reimbursed, and I'm assuming reimbursed by Northwestern, but some do not show reimbursed. I don't know if that meant they haven't been reimbursed yet, or if they're not going to be reimbursed. Do we always get reimbursed for all of our police services for games?
As a general rule, we get reimbursed for additional staff that are placed on duty, not necessarily for staff that were already on shift. So I think it is for all overtime.
This was
Yes.
all overtime that I copied, all overtime. So a lot of it wasn't reimbursed.
You could-
And it was 7 pages of single-spaced, single lines. I thought it was astonishing number of, and I don't know if other people were able to interpret. I think some of it was duplicative, but I'm not sure. And I really, if it's duplicative, the $100,000 of athletic tax can't possibly cover it. So that was one reason why I tried to single that out. I just want to be reassured. I don't guess I have to be reassured tonight, but I think the entire city of Evanston has to be reassured what that amount of money is that we spend to supervise the games.
We will follow up with a report on the amount that is reimbursed per football and for the major events.
Well, that's all I pulled out.
Yep.
And I sent it to everybody, and just take a look at it. But we must have a policy. I mean, we must know whether or not we are reimbursed for all that overtime or not.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, good evening. The answer to your question is we are not reimbursed for all overtime associated with football and basketball games. There has been a practice of overtime that is required for assistance with the event management. So mostly the police that are used on site. So during football, it's on the perimeter of the stadium. People egress. Overtime that is associated with officers away from the stadium is not covered. There's less of that during basketball season. Most of the officers we use are located again on the premises, and the traffic is less given the numbers of folks. So again, as Mr. Lyons indicated, we can come back with a more complete report, but there is cost to the city with those events that is not reimbursed by the university.
Yeah. I really would like an explanation of the sheets that I sent.
Certainly.
Thank you very much. Okay. And so, are we just going to be getting these sheets of overtime? I mean, I don't know how to read them.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, we had been sharing with you overtime reports in the detail that we've had over the last several months, given the financial condition that we were in. With the beginning of the next fiscal year, I think we'd like to reevaluate how we share that overtime information with you. I get pretty detailed reports on a quarterly basis from the staff and the Human Resources Division. Perhaps that's a better use of the council's time, is to look at that information quarterly and then have an opportunity to discuss it and dive down into it at that point. I don't know that it changes wildly pay period by pay period. Again, I really just wanted to heighten the attention of the staff and our managers and supervisors with the importance of it, and by providing it to the council, I think we were able to accomplish that over the last several months.
The only way it means anything to me is if I see dollar amounts. You know,
Right, that was my question, because I had asked before when we started getting these if I could see dollar amounts, because, you know, it's nice to see the hours, but we were thinking about budget, and so dollars made more sense to me. And even with the hours total, some departments tell you the total number of hours, some departments just tell you, you know, the hours per person. And it would be helpful for me to see a total number of hours if we're going to continue to get these, because at least that helps me to gauge. I do have another question while you're up there. It looks like maybe just in the Parks and Rec department, but some staff have comp time, and then I assume some staff where it doesn't say comp time actually are paid for their overtime. And I don't see that in other departments. So can you just explain why some people are paid and some people get comp time?
I missed that.
Yes, Alderman Fleming, members of the committee. There are a couple different component parts to it. One is that under the various union contracts, there are flexibility per bargaining unit, and the other is employee preference. And so I'd be happy to, I don't have anything before me that
No,
can
that's
get more
fine.
specific into that.
So, yeah, it was interesting that, again, some have comp time and some, I assume, are paid. So
And
as long as the employees chose that, or that's all they can have, I would just want to
But
make
it
sure
has
we're
a
being
dollar
fair.
value. A comp time has a dollar value.
No, and I just want to be fair. If they have an option, they pick comp time, great, or if that's all they can have. I just was trying to figure out how we decide who gets comp time and who actually gets paid out.
Oh.
And Alderman Fleming, members of the committee, the union contracts have some guidance with that as well. I cannot recite that off the top of my head. So some employees, I think, have more flexibility than others in making that decision. For some, they would rather have the time because of tax reasons and sometimes the additional pay. Everybody, I think, views that very differently. So, Madam Chair, I think
Councilman Braithwaite has a question.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick, so yes, I would agree being able to see this in terms of a dollar amount. I know during the budget season, the one number that I did pay attention to, Wally, was the fire, the fact that we actually budgeted for the fires overtime. But I would like it, of course, when you break it down by department, to know how they're tracking, if any other departments actually budget for overtime.
Let me, Alderman Braithwaite, members of the committee, answer the last part of your question first, and that is that every department budgets for overtime. The police and fire departments have unique situations with overtime in that they are constantly manned. And so we have to provide police officers, firefighters 24/7 at a set staffing level. In places like Parks and Rec and community development, finance, the needs for overtime are different. And so we try to budget accordingly, try to discourage overtime when it is not absolutely needed for the mission of the organization. And so, but it is budgeted in all departments. It just plays a much more significant role in police and fire. And so, Madam Chair, what I'd like to propose is that we transition from this monthly report to a quarterly report. I currently receive internally a report that you're describing. And so that work is already done. It's not been shared on a regular basis, largely just because it hasn't been an issue of the council's policy considerations. But I do monitor it very closely every quarter, ask questions of the departments, track budget versus actual, track comp time versus pay time by department, and ask questions and really encourage folks. I think in many organizations, overtime sometimes is seen as something that an employee decides versus management decides, and we try to manage accordingly where people take overtime because the organization needs it, not because it's a convenience factor. So if you're comfortable with that, Alderman Rainey, we'll just bring you a quarterly report. I think it's an excellent thing to stay on top of. A lot of organizations don't at any level, and I think pay the price, and I think moving forward, while hopefully the council will adopt the budget that's before you this evening, and that is a very appropriate budget. I think managing overtime always just helps the cause.
Anything else?
Before we go, Ms. Holmes has been texting back and forth, and
Yes.
the signal has been
So,
going in
Madam
and
Chair,
out.
so I mentioned to you, but to the rest of the community and those in the audience know, we're having difficulties with our Comcast feed this evening, and that is also affecting our streaming. So Anderson Castillo is working diligently to get that fixed, and there are several members of the community who have my cell number and who have been texting to let me know, and I have let them know we know.
All right.
Nothing more.
Nothing more. All right. Committee? Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All right. Thank you. Second?
Second.
All right. We're adjourned until we have a Rules Committee meeting.